Hello and a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Vikas Nangia with Focus Live Season 5. Ladies and gentlemen, it's often said that sharing is caring. Well, today on Focus Live, we have with us some distinguished guests who join us from different parts of United States and from India. We'll be interacting with them on philanthropy, something that's very close to their heart. They feel very joyful and blissful to return it back to the society and to give it back to their motherland. Philanthropy is the common thread that binds them all, and that's what they're doing through their separate individual organizations in their capacity, and they're also doing it jointly with Rotary Club. On the program today, we have with us some familiar faces. You've known Mr. H.P. Rama as the former chairman of Asian American Hotel Owners Association. He's the founding member of this particular organization. He is the founder and president of Aura University, located in Surat, India, and of course the chairman of Aura Hospitality. Mr. Rama, thank you so very much for joining us on Focus Live Season 5. My second guest, very familiar face on our network on TV Asia, Mr. Amrit Patel, although he's from Southern California, but at the moment he joins us from India. I understand Mr. Amrit Patel is the founder and president of Playful India, a die-hard Rotarian, I would say, somebody who's compassionately involved with the organization. My third and yet another important guest who joins us from Badoli, India right now from District Surat is Nalin Bhai Joshi. Nalin Bhai Joshi is the managing trustee of Diwali Ben Trust. Thank you all for joining us on Season 5 of Focus Live.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to interact with you, and you've become role model in our society, in our community. The kind of work that you are doing. They often say that we cannot help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And so it makes somewhat a responsibility for all of us. If you have the resources, you should go out and help. Amrit Bhai, I would start the conversation with you. What's your take on that we can help someone, if not everyone?
Well, I think I go back to trying to find the best way to help in India. And trusting people and the system here is different than the US. But I've gone fond of a Rotary International, because they're volunteers, they're not paid officers, and they help execute our plans. They make our money go further. For every $1 donated, they can add up to $3 to help the cause. And so started out with Playful India with making rural village schools to be a smart school. We put smart boards, drinking water, playground, toilets and stuff, hygienic stuff, things for girls and so forth. And I think we evolved from that some more. But Rotary International is a good partner to have. And it's 100% of your funds go to the cause you want to make it go to. And we don't have any tax issues bringing the money to India or funding it from America, because it's going through Rotary International. They do all the bookwork and they handle all the transactions, and I'm grateful to them. And I think we have done up to about $3 million in grants so far, and everything was executed perfectly.
So when you say $3 million, I understand that's just Playful India, right?
Yes, but we have philanthropers and NGOs joining us. Usually we come up with about 25 to 30% of the grant funds, and the rest comes from the clubs, which are local clubs, and district governors, and then it goes to International Rotary for their approval. And once they like your project, they will back it and fund it.
Mr. Rama, I'd like to get your reaction that we cannot help everyone, but everyone can help someone. What would you say?
I would say that everybody, wherever they are in capacity to help people, they were first helped by somebody to reach that level of capacity, empower themselves to help others in need. So it is very important that we remember our roots, which helps us to grow and be successful in life.
हमारा दिवाली बेन ट्रस्ट का जो मोटो है वो एजुकेशन में है, दूसरा गरीबों को मदद करने के लिए यानी कि रूरल में जो डिफिकल्टी है उसे ढूंढ के उनके साथ बैठ के उसका उपाय ढूंढने के लिए प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं और उनको जिस बजट की जरूरियात हो वही जरूरियात हम उनको देने के लिए प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं ताकि उनको भी समझ में आए कि ये जो चीज हमें मिल रही है इससे हमारा इतना विकास हो सकता है। पहले हम उनको उसका नॉलेज देते हैं कि किस चीज का आपको कमी है जिसके लिए आपको ऐसा लगता है कि हम पीछे रह गए हैं। वो जानने के बाद उनको अभ्यास में आने के बाद वो चीज किसे उसको मिलनी चाहिए इसके लिए पूरा प्रयत्न करते हैं और पूरी टीम इसी में काम लग रही है।
हम सबके जीवन में कोई ना कोई ऐसा क्षण, कोई ऐसा मौका आता है जब हम समाज सेवा या फिलैंथ्रोपी की ओर जागरूक होते हैं। कुछ ऐसी कोई खास परिस्थिति हमारे साथ जरूर बनती है जो हमें इस ओर लेकर के चल पड़ती है, हमारा एक ध्येय बन जाता है। आपकी लाइफ में ऐसा कौन सा फेज था जहां पर आपका रुझान या आपकी जागरूकता समाज सेवा की ओर हुई?
वैसे तो मैं गुजरात के बारडोली में ही रहने वाला था, वकालत का मैं पेशा कर रहा था, फिर अमेरिका आया। अमेरिका में बीयू पटेल जो तरसाड़िया फाउंडेशन के फाउंडर है उनके साथ पहचान हुई और उनके साथ होते ही यहाँ क्या मैं उन्हें बताया कि यहाँ के रूरल में जो है ग्राम्य विस्तार है वहाँ सरकार ने पूरी सुविधा तो रखी है मगर ये सुविधा कैसे उनको लाभ लेना है उसको उनको मालूम नहीं है। स्कूल होने के बाद भी वो बच्चे स्कूल में नहीं जाते हैं। क्यों नहीं जाते उसको किसी बताते नहीं है। तो पहला काम हमने उन लोग के साथ ऐसा किया कि जो चीज सरकार ने रखी है वो उस अच्छी तरह से वो लोग उपयोग कर सके इसके लिए उनके साथ बात करनी चाहिए और उनको सीख देनी चाहिए और इसी सीख पे आगे जाके हमने उसकी जरूरियात के हिसाब से उनके साथ जुड़ते रहे और आज जुड़ते जुड़ते हमारे साथ कम से कम 400 विलेज 400 विलेज के साथ हम इतना जुड़ मिल गए हैं कि उनकी कुछ भी जरूरियात है तो वो हमें बताते हैं। हम ये अमेरिका वाले आप जो बोल रहे हैं ना वहां के एनआरआई को बताते हैं और उनकी मदद से यहाँ के लोगों की हम मदद कर रहे हैं।
Mr. Rama, you categorically mentioned about education. You know, you laid emphasis on education. So that cause seems to be close to your heart. And was there a specific reason that you wanted to, focus more on education than any other form of charity? And the same thing goes with Amrit Bhai. Amrit Bhai, you're involved in various charitable endeavors. What is the closest to your heart and why? I'll start with Mr. Rama first, and Amrit Bhai, then I'll reach out to you.
I think most important thing is that education, I very early on felt can shape the life of a person for rest of their life. So through education, we are preparing a person to be self-dependent, resourceful, and contributing to the society. So the education is building block for the society, building block for their own family, and most importantly, building block for their own self-development. So this is very important as a basis for success in life. And that prompted me to look into the education as a permanent a way of contributing to the individual, society, and a nation.
Mr. Patel?
Yes, we are the missing link, I guess, between the US NRI philanthropers and the Indias. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. During the COVID crisis, Tasaria Group and Dr. Nitin Shah and I got together. We sent about 2,000 oxygen concentrator machines made in the US and sent from there directly to India. But we needed somebody to execute and carry out the plans in a professional manner, assign these units to the people so they are accountable. And so we used Rotary. Rotary went into action in several cities, and they took down their Aadhaar cards, serial numbers, and showed them how to operate the machine before giving it to them, and then keeping track of it. The second thing was AHOA also jumped in, which is Hazubai was the founder of that, and they had raised enough for 14 oxygen plants for hospitals, but they needed somebody locally to find the facts and where they needed it and what size they needed it. we found Prakash Bhai Patel from Surat in his Rotary Club, stepped up and he identified all 14. He also made it easy for them to transfer their funds from the US to the club. Again, if you don't have an FCNR account in India, it's hard to get funds from there to here without the government stopping it. So Rotary does come into play a lot. And I think when you give this information and the tools to the NRI, it makes them feel a little bit comfortable, and it's transparent, and all their funds do go to the right spots.
Well, we'll take a quick short break over here. On the other side of the break, we'll resume our conversation with three of you. Viewers, you stay tuned. Mr. Joshi, Mr. Patel, and Mr. Rama, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Focus Live Season 5. I'm Vikas Nangia. Ladies and gentlemen, on the program today, we are talking about philanthropy. We're in conversation with some distinguished panelists, hoteliers, entrepreneurs. Although they come from different walks of life, but what binds them together is philanthropy, and more importantly, it's the Rotary Club that brings them together. I understand earlier this year, you folks celebrated philanthropy in a very, very unique way through a program called Lamhe. Mr. Amrit Patel, would you give us some insight about this program and what was the idea behind that?
You know, some of these philanthropers have made it a mission of their life to help India and anywhere in the world, but they are not recognized in the manner of a legacy award. In other words, we selected people who were doing this for the last 20 years or longer. And then some of them were working through Rotary International, and some were doing it on their own. And so to motivate other people and to inspire, we had brought their story on screen with 3 minutes that shows what kind of work they're doing and how they are being supportive to our community and the needy in India. And so I really wanted to first do that in Atlanta, but it made it harder to do it there. So then went from LA, then to Surat. Things were easier to organize and get things going. Hopefully, maybe in a year or so, someone else will do it in another city. But these 19 awardees that we selected, sincerely, they are putting their hearts and soul and their money behind these projects. And I'm fortunate to know every one of them and met them. And I'm just a small person. I came to the U.S. when I was 9 years old, and I came back after I turned 61. But I think it felt like I never left India. I want to do so much where I can. And I'll answer the other question later, which is near to my heart on the second round.
Yeah. Mr. Rama?
I think the most important thing I picked up and I observed and I learned that many people from different walks of society, different background, different area geographically are doing a great work. And this Lamhe program highlighted that and showcased their work in a formal fashion, which in turn inspired many students, many people, the public, which also will now get inspired to do a philanthropic work, to help people who are in need. So it was more inspirational to all the people that attended the program. And we had a student from Kolkata Sardia University, from Oro University. And so the young mind needs to think beyond themselves. The Rotary motto is service above self. So that was, I think, well orchestrated by Amrit Bhai and his team, in my opinion.
हमें तो एक बात आपको कहने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि ये प्रोग्राम ऑर्गेनाइज में बात कहे जो रामा साहब ने बताया ने कि बहुत से लोग बहुत से अलग अलग कार्य कर रहे हैं, वो एक मंच पे आए, वो एक मंच पे आने के बाद हम एक दूसरे को पूरक बन सकेंगे, हम जो कर रहे हैं, हमें किसी की मदद चाहिए तो हम कर ले सकेंगे, क्योंकि हम एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे आ गए। ये सबसे बड़ी अच्छी बात हुई। दूसरी जो बात है, हम जो कार्य कर रहे हैं भारत में रह के, इसके पीछे जो जो फंडिंग है और जो लोग हैं, जो उसका दिमाग है, उन लोग को भारत में जैसे जहां काम कर रहे हैं वहां उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करने में हमें बहुत आनंद हुआ है, क्योंकि उनकी जो मदद है, इसी वजह से यहाँ के लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं। तो ये जो लोग हैं, जिनका दिमाग भी लगा रहा है, जो मॉनेटरी पावर भी दे रहे हैं, और हमें कैसा काम करना चाहिए, उसका रिजल्ट कैसा आता है, ये सब देखते हैं। और उसे देखने के बाद ये जो लम्हे हुआ, इससे बहुत बड़ा फायदा हुआ है सबको। इसलिए एक पॉइंट पे गैदरिंग होने से अच्छा हो रहा है सब कुछ।
सुनालिल भाई, एक बात और जो गौरतलब है वो ये कि अभी जो HP रामा जी ने कहा, इसमें उन्होंने यंगस्टर्स को मोटिवेट करने को, इंस्पायर करने के लिए भी काफी तवज्जो दिया। देखिए, हम अमेरिका में जब रहते हैं ना, तो हम पहली जनरेशन, सेकंड जनरेशन की बात करते हैं, और कई बार ऐसा होता है कि जब हम फिलैंथ्रोपी की ओर रुख करते हैं, वो तब करते हैं जब हम रिटायरमेंट फेज में आने वाले होते हैं। यंगस्टर्स के नाते जब यंग होते हैं, तब शायद ज्यादा फोकस नहीं कर पाते फिलैंथ्रोपी के लिए, समाज सेवा के प्रति। लेकिन समय आ पड़ा है कि हम अपने युवा वर्ग को भी इस ओर प्रेरित करें, जागरूक करें। उस लिहाज से क्या कहेंगे?
ये जो आपने बताया ना, बहुत अच्छी बात है। देखो, हम लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं ना, ज्यादातर जो HP रामा साहब ने उक्का तसाड़े यूनिवर्सिटी के जो स्टूडेंट है, हम ज्यादातर कॉलेज के जो बच्चे होते हैं, वो वॉलेंटरी करने के लिए एक ग्रुप होता है। वो ग्रुप को हम इनवाइट करते हैं, और इस ग्रुप को हम पहले अवेयरनेस दे कराते हैं, और फिर उनको फील्ड में लेके बताते हैं कि देखो उन लोग की परिस्थिति क्या है और हम कैसे जीते हैं। दोनों का डिफरेंस उनको मालूम होता है। फिर उनमें जागृति होती है कि देखो हमारे पास इतना है, उनके पास कुछ नहीं है, तो करते हैं। मैं आपको एक छोटी सी बात बताता हूँ। मैंने एक बार एक आश्रमशाला देते थे, आंगनवाड़ी बोलते हैं यहाँ, कुछ बच्चे को लेके चला गया था। उन लोग ने देखा कि वो लोग बैठे, फटे हुए कपड़े, अच्छी तरह से पेन नहीं है, कुछ ऐसी तरह बैठे, नहीं खाने का सवाल नहीं है। तो यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ने वाले लोग, बच्चे तो अच्छे होते हैं, उनको बताया कि आप उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हो। तो एक बच्चा ने कहा मैं कल 2 जोड़ी क्लॉथ लेके आऊंगा, एक ने कहा कि मैं चप्पल लेकर आऊंगा, एक ने कहा मैं छाता लेकर आऊंगा। आपको मालूम नहीं, पूरा टेम्पो भर के सामान आ गया। वो वॉलेंटियर नहीं आया। उनको जब हमने बताया कि परिस्थिति देखो और आपके पास घर में ज्यादा है, मेरा पहला प्रोजेक्ट ही ये था कि आपके घर में जो ज्यादा चीज है, जो आप बार बार उपयोग नहीं कर रहे हो, वो किसी के लिए जीवन दान बन जाती है। तो उनके लिए आपको डोनेट करना चाहिए, उनके लिए खुद जाके करना चाहिए। और एक ये बात सही है, हम करें या वो लोग खुद करें, इसमें वो फर्क पड़ता है। जो वो लोग खुद करेंगे, जो यंगस्टर खुद जाएंगे और खुद करेंगे, हम उसको मार्गदर्शन करेंगे, तो उसका फायदा भी ज्यादा होता है और उनको मोटिवेशन होता है, और एक को देख के दूसरा होता है, लिंक बढ़ती है। यही हिसाब से हम अभी काम कर रहे हैं।
मुझे लगता है ये जो आपका गुड्स को एक्सचेंज करने का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये बहुत सराहनीय है। इससे बहुत से लोगों को एक नया आइडिया मिलेगा, एक नया विजन मिलेगा कि इस तरीके से भी किया जा सकता है। Mr. HP Rama and Amrit Bhai, I wanted to get your reaction about involving the youngsters as early as we could. Majority of us, we tend to focus on philanthropy when we are almost at our retirement age, you know, when we say that, okay, this is the work that we should be doing in the last phase of our life. What would you say involving youngsters at a young phase? I'll start with Mr. Rama first.
Yeah, let me give you a live example. At our university, we have different clubs. One club called Aadhar Club. And through that, we have adopted and give a title called Parivartan Pathsala. We have adopted a Lajpur jail inmates, and we are providing a on-site in the jail training from different school student of the Oro University, whether the IT, School of Design, School of Hospitality Management, School of Business. They all go to the Lajpur jail and interact with the student the inmates, students interact with the inmates, and they uplift their morale, they interact, they teach them certain skills that they can use while they are there. They are engaged, and we see a fantastic results out of it. And we are fortunate that Director of Prison of Gujarat, Dr. Rao, has allowed us to interact with the prison inmates. And that is one of the program. Then also we have adopted a school next to our Oro University. And the student of primary school, our student goes there and teach them English. They bring them to the campus. They teach them how to draw, art, how to create a entertainment cultural program. So they are engaged. So we are involving our student directly with the society and at different areas of the society, whether it is school, a orphanage. We have some orphanage students studying from Nepal in our university on a full scholarship. So we involve them into the because they are more sensitive, because they are the one that is also needed help, and they got something.
So it's students helping students. I think that
Yes.
seems to be the goal over here.
Absolutely.
Mr. Patel, your reaction on involving the youth at an early stage itself, so that they're proactively involved.
So we started helping the village rural schools between the grades 1 through 8. We got them smart boards, we got them iPads, we got digital library instead of hard book libraries. We did playgrounds for them with slides and merry-go-rounds and things. Give them a little physical activity as well. But we found out in the last 7 years that their attendance went up by 90%. Before, their half of them used to come. They didn't come. Now they come for the playground to come early and play and then go to class on time. Then we also, another gentleman started giving breakfast at schools and another incentive to bring kids in. And it raised their the education, ability to learn and grasp things through the media. It was much better than the old-fashioned chalkboard. So we think education is the best way, and all these gentlemen are saying the same thing to help them out. But the old saying, the best way out of poverty is the only vehicle is the education. And we may not help everybody, but we can start with this generation, and hopefully they're successful, and they'll be sitting in our position as an NGO of a large corporations, and they can help out and reach and help more people. So early detection, early education. We also joined APNO, AIPNO from Cleveland, Ohio, which have done numerous medical camps here. 40 doctors from the US comes down here. I sponsored 3 of their grants annually, and we help tens of thousands of people in India, from cancer to just regular motia for eyes or hearing aids and so forth. Rotary, when they get involved, they help out and they make sure there's no cost to the patient at all. And they bring them to the site, they feed them, they take them back. If there's a surgery required, they will do the same thing, follow through the whole thing. And that's what these purpose of these grants are for. The 2 things that we started out after Lamhe, one was for the blind, vision aid technology from Israel, manufactured in the US. And now they started manufacturing with a company in Bangalore. They give you an example. They make those glasses that were in the United States, $3,500 a pair for 48,000 rupees in Bangalore. Now the Rotary price is 30,000. And the Vision Aid company said they will match every one we do. So we have a grant that's approved at this point to do 200 units. So we're going to pay for 100 units. Vision Aid is going to give us the other 100. Now here's the good thing. That means from the 30,000, we are only paying 15,000 a unit. But Rotary comes in, I only have to pay a third of that. So now that pair is going to cost 5,000 rupees, and then all the other people will help pay for the other stuff. This is the best way to help India because you can maximize your money. Let's be wise, let's be smart. Let's use the vehicle for Rotary to do this, and we'd be more than happy to help them It doesn't matter if you're in Atlanta or San Francisco and you want to help Bangalore or Rajasthan or Gujarat. The clubs are everywhere.
I agree. I mean, this is commendable and this is wonderful, the work that you folks are doing. I want to compliment you all. Keep up the good work. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. Focus Live will continue. On the other side of the break, we'll have motivational speaker Rahul Kapoor and Dr. Nitin Desai from Southern California. He'll join us. They both will talk about philanthropy and more. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. You're watching Focus Live Season 5. I'm Vikas Nangia. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to interact with Rotary Club members, individuals who are doing some phenomenal work living in this part of the world and even back home in India. We continue to talk on the topic of philanthropy. Joining us now in this segment, we have with us Dr. Nitin Shah, a well-known and accomplished medical professional settled in Southern California, a quite familiar face on our network. You've known him very, very well. And we also have a motivational speaker, Rahul Kapoor, who joins us from India at the moment. Rahul was one of the keynote speakers at the Lamhe Award ceremony that took place earlier in India in the month of January 2023. Dr. Shah and Rahul Kapoor, thank you so very much for joining us on Focus Live Season 5.
You're welcome, sir.
When in our first segment, I was interacting with Nalin Bhai Joshi, HP Rama, and Amrit Patel, I opened up the conversation by getting their reaction that, we cannot help everyone, but everyone can help someone. That makes a lot of difference in the community. That brings the change, a big shift in the community. Dr. Shah, I'd like to get your reaction on that.
It's absolutely a phenomenal point. And I think Mother Teresa was the one to say that ocean is full of many drops and every drop makes and connects and forms an ocean. Same way, we all can do one thing at a time, and that's going to change people's lives. And that's the principle I personally have been gone by also over the last several decades.
Yeah. Rahul, you interact with people from all walks of life, and I'm sure, you must have sort of sensed that when they think about charity, when they think about philanthropy, what goes in their mindset. Could you talk about that?
Charity, philanthropy is basically about giving. And I think we as individuals, however we are me-focused, there is always this feeling of inauthenticity when we are me-focused. And every human being in this world knows this truth about themselves. When it comes to giving, it suddenly becomes we-focused. And that is where a human being really finds meaning in his existence. And more than just that, you kind of create a feeling of yoga. You connect yourself with the universe. And that's the easiest way to do, is to start giving. And I've seen this happening across every nation where I've traveled. People just become one when it comes to giving.
Yeah. Dr. Shah, talk a bit about your journey, and what really motivated you towards philanthropy. At what phase of your life? There are certain turning moments in our life that sort of inspire us to develop the compassion and do philanthropy. What was the turning point in your life?
I'm glad you asked that question. It goes back to my high school years. When I was in high school, I was taken from Mumbai, where I was born and raised, to a village called Nandarbar, my maternal grandparents. And I saw my maternal grandfather do philanthropy, charity, etc., very silently. Family didn't even know a whole lot, but I got very close to him in those 4 years that I spent, and I learned those things from him. And when I was doing my residency in Baroda, India, in anesthesiology, That's where that bulb went into my head. I had an opportunity to help someone who literally otherwise would not have survived. He was a 22-year-old engineer who was brought to the hospital because he wasn't able to breathe well. And I was on call and I put the endotracheal tube in and got his family members to breathe for him. And I'm not kidding. There were no ventilators at that time. I'm talking about 1977. Mm-hmm. And his family, I could manage to pull together to breathe for him for how long? 7 days and 4 hours, 172 hours. And this was with the help of Oxford inflating bellows. People in medical profession will probably realize. So I told the family, every time you take a breath, you breathe for him. And this was Mr. K.B. Gupta. He lived, became an engineer, and I did follow him up once several years later. But you know, that feeling, I canceled my vacation to go and visit my uncle from England at that time and spend 6 days just taking care of him, because it was probably my ego that I didn't want to trust anybody, because this had never happened in that hospital. Even the big chiefs of the hospital were wondering for first 2 days, I'm wasting my time, because all these patients have always died there. But I was not to give up. And that has changed my perception that, hey, look, I could do this. Who was I? A young, budding anesthesia resident, and people didn't even trust me for the first 2 or 3 days. And then after 7 days, everybody was like aghast. Oh my God. So that ended up with me, before I left Baroda, getting someone to donate a ventilator to the hospital. Right. So that was the beginning of my journey.
Wow. And of course, Amrit Bhai was mentioning about how during the COVID days also you guys, were very instrumental in sending the ventilators and various other things to help the underprivileged back home in India. I'll get your reaction on that, but let me reach out to Rahul. Rahul, all these individuals, who develop a psyche or a mindset for giving back to the society, all these individuals specialize or, they're sharp brains. They're very committed. They're very compassionate about this whole process of giving back to the society. Now, somebody who is already so smart, what more do you bring to the table for them as a motivational speaker?
Actually, it's not about what more, it's about what's new. And I think that's really where my combination of science, psychology, and spirituality all roll into one to communicate one message. Really, I think that gets something taking over here in people's brain. For example, stories are a very powerful medium to access psychology of people. And one of the stories that I was sharing that day in the session was about a person who has never given anything to anybody. And these beggars in the community, in India, you have these guys who keep going to a shop and say, "Bhai, kuch de do, kuch de do." And this one particular guy would never give anything to anybody. So another beggar from another community comes over and says, "Hey, listen, I can go get something from him." He said, "Forget it. We've tried for years. Nothing's going to happen." So this guy goes there and says, "Sir, kuch to de do." He said, "Aage chalo, kuch nahi denge." He said, "Sir, ek kaam karo, paisa nahi do. Wahan pe jo kachra pada hai na corner mein, wo kachra de do." The guy looks at him and says, "Kachra?" He said, "Lo, leke jao, mujhe kya farak padta hai?" And he gets the kachra and goes to the other friends of his and says, "Look, I got something." Like, "You got kachra? What's wrong with you?" He says, "Suno bhai, 5 साल tak usne kisi ko kuch nahi diya hai. Aaj kachra diya hai, kal paisa bhi dega." So, what I'm trying to say is this, that as stories like these have tremendous impact on people's brains, people get the message. And for those who are already on the journey, they really know the power of giving is a lot more than the need to keep saving for yourself. And when the power of giving gets combined with selflessness, that's when it multiplies. And everybody knows the game here is not of the fact that you are giving and therefore you're doing something good to the others, but in your giving, you're actually reducing your own karmas. The पाप की जो कर्म थे वो आपने कितने घटा दिए. और हर इंटेलिजेंट इंसान को ये पता है कि भाई देने से मैं बड़ा नहीं हो रहा हूं, देने से आगे वाला मेरे लिए बड़ा हो रहा है, बिकॉज वो मेरे दान को एक्सेप्ट करके मुझे कृतज्ञ बना रहा है. So that's really the perspective of my messaging, that I try to help people understand the concept through their heart into the brains, and sometimes through the brain to the hearts.
आई थिंक राहुल, ये बहुत सकारात्मक सोच है कि दान देने से आप अपने कई ऐसे कर्म हैं जो काट रहे हैं, जो शायद आपको आगे जाके आपके लिए मददगार हों. आई थिंक दैट्स अ ग्रेट वे टू पुट इट टुगेदर. Dr. Shah, it also reminds me of a popular quote that tough times don't last, but tough people do. I understand that you've been through, many tough phases in your life, but you've stood out. You've managed to pull yourself through those tough times, and in many ways, you became a role model first for your family. And then for the society. So, what was that process like for you, and how did you accept those challenges and you sort of moved on in life? Can you just talk a bit about that?
As my son actually puts it, I taught him to believe in himself. And that's what I always did with myself. But it is the second part which is so good. This was on his Twitter quote. He taught me 100% by his actions without saying a single word about it. And that's phenomenal. I never thought. He's now 42, and this he wrote when he was 39 or so. So point I'm making is, yes, I had a dream. I wanted to come to America. I was unfortunate to pass the exams that we used to take at that time, the first trial, and I still never gave up. And if I summarize in one sentence, my entry into the United States took 1,000 applications, 883 unsuccessful, 286, the last call was successful. That changed not only me, but even my generation's career and life. And that was thanks to Dr. Robert Bedford, an American anesthesiologist, also at famous Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. That's where I ended up on my last day before leaving from America in 1986. And obviously, I owe a lot to, of course, my birth country, Bharat, and of course, my country where I live now, America. But America has given us a very unique perspective. So I've traveled to 17 countries. And the last one, I just came back from Turkey 2 days ago, and also Geneva. But more important is Turkey in this context where I visited because we had done fundraisers after Turkey and Syria earthquake, and we were trying to help them. We have done quite a bit, and India has certainly helped in that process as well. But every opportunity I take as a challenge to do better, and where do we go from there? How can we help people? And when you help someone from whom you do not expect anything, that joy is undescribable. You have to go and do it, then only you can feel what that is like.
Many of us, look for giving back to the society. Some people believe in giving back for education. Some believe to give for the food, shelter. Some believe to just give financial remuneration. People, for some, money makes a lot of difference, and then to others, it's the health, providing them a better, comfortable life and a healthy lifestyle that's close to their heart. What's the closest to your heart?
I have a very simple principle. If I can help any one person from whom I don't expect anything in return, that's the fundamental philosophy, be it for health, for education, for food, or giving oxygen concentrators and oxygen plants to India. So I know I'm giving you a round answer, but I don't have one specific philosophy. Although as a physician, I've done most work or more work in the medical industry and helping people, organizing health fairs, medical missions, and so on and so forth. However, coming about COVID, do you want me to go on about that now? That will answer some of your questions.
Sure.
Okay. So I've been to countries. We came back in January of 2020 from India after doing 10 missions in different countries, all medical. And now COVID hit. I was sitting quiet at home for 4 days, which was very unlike me. And then I said, no, this is not me. I've got to do something. And that's something I will just list. Raising $40,000 for United Sikh Mission, we were making 3,000 to 4,000 meals every single day for 3 months and feeding people all over. Learning from that, we were involved in giving groceries, total in 3 different places, Sanatan Dharma Temple, Jain Center, and a local church. 12,000 grocery bags I was involved in, but right from day one at Sanatan Temple, we give grocery bags to homeless people. Well, they're homeless. What are they going to do with the rice and grain? So we started cooking. So far, and that continued after COVID. In 3 years, we have fed 300,000 plus meals, making it every Sunday freshly cooked meals to serve homeless people. Then we learned about education that, look, because of COVID, children are not going to be able to go to school. Now, right. even in America, everybody does not have computer and Wi-Fi at home. Sure. I was involved with Mangal Family Trust to donate 5,000 plus laptops, Chromebooks in Southern California. We went on the Jaina platform, gave it to all North America, and even sent some to Canada. Now people are learning because of that. Got the food part. You heard about Diwali Ben Trust. Their parent institution, the Sadia Foundation, they are the ones who are our major sponsor for that. Now, moving on, we learned that oxygen, yes, India needs oxygen. And with Pratham's Vice President Raj Shah, who is also from Sarvamangal Family Trust, 2 of us together, we worked on sending 13,500 oxygen concentrators to India. Wow. And while we started doing that, remember, it's not very easy part. Buying from China, you can't send from China to India. So drive them to Hong Kong, send them to India from Hong Kong. And I was so fortunate that I got connected in 2 hours with the chief of Air India, Mr. Singh, I think. He connected me with everybody in America, US chief, California chief in San Francisco. And Mr. Patel is aware, he sent 475 oxygen concentrators through me via Air India. They airlifted about 5,000, I would say. And after that, of course, the politics came about and other institutions in Delhi got involved and they couldn't continue that way. So we went a long route. But while we were doing this, we all of a sudden realized, and this was with Mr. Manu Shah of Sarvamangal Family Trust, hey, Nitin Bhai, we're giving oxygen concentrators, but what afterwards? Because the hospitals have to run otherwise. What do we do here? I said, well, let's look for oxygen plants. Guess what? We were working on and involved in 17 oxygen plants. And I visited 12 of them in 22 and 23. And they are, except one, all were functional at that time. So this is a long-term solution to the situation and the needs in India. So that was the COVID time. I didn't travel for 2 years, but got around to do quite many things, Vikasi.
This is commendable, the work that you folks have done and continue to do so. As we are slowly, gradually coming towards the end of this conversation, Rahul, मैं आपसे जरूर ये जानना चाहूंगा कि सब किसी को सकारात्मक सोच देना, पॉजिटिव वाइब्स क्रिएट करने के लिए, आई एम श्योर आप भी कुछ खास अपने आप में ऐसा करते होगे कि आप निरंतर सकारात्मक रहें. What is it that you do to yourself? How you continue to educate or empower yourself to motivate others? What's the mantra behind that? Tell us a bit about that, and then I'll reach out to Dr. Shah for his closing remarks.
Right. So what I'm going to do is, before I answer the question, let me help you decode what was happening in Dr. Nitin Shah's brain, or all the people that he mentioned about, whether he spoke about Dr. Manubhai and Mr. Raj. This is the secret of what is happening in their brains when they're giving something to people. Selfless giving. The moment you decide that you want to give something, the moment you decide you want to do something, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine. Makes you feel very nice about yourself. Sure. Then you actually go out there and do things for people. And when you can see children or those who are not well, and you just go touch them, you touch them, and what you do is you actually release a chemical called oxytocin. You pass it on to the others, it gets released in your body too. makes you feel amazing. It creates trust and bond in people. When all this is happening and somebody appreciates you and say, thank you so much, and you have the appreciation that they're accepting your gift, the moment the sense of appreciation comes in, your body releases serotonin.
Mm.
Finally, when you see the smile on your face or somebody else's face, just the smile, like you are smiling right now, just the smile, you don't even know, is releasing endorphin in your body. I call it DOSE, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. All four, it's like a dose of happiness that gets unleashed in your body and the other people's body. So Dr. Nitin and the others, they're all super champions. They all know they're giving. But what they perhaps also quietly know in their subconscious is they're creating this amazing, amazing combination of happy chemicals that keeps them going in spite of all the challenges. So that's one part of the response. The second part you asked me is what happens to me? Where do I get all of this motivation from to motivate other people? Actually, the same secret formula. The secret formula of how to keep yourself happy all the time. You look around the world, there's only and only misery, pain, difficulties, challenges. Buddha, Mahavira, they all knew this is what the world is full of. And look at what beautiful thing they achieved, enlightenment. And what they did after that, they gave it back. So that everybody gets that secret of happiness and everybody can then fill themselves up with that to move on. तो हम हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, आत्मा से परमात्मा तक का सफर. मेरे जैसे लोग दूसरों को परमात्मा बनाए ना बना पाए, हमें तो ये पता है कि हमें निमित्त जरूर बनना है, कैटलिस्ट बनना है. और किसी के जर्नी में कैटलिस्ट बनना, उससे बड़ा मोटिवेशन और क्या हो सकता है?
I think very, very beautifully, articulately, you explained the first part of my question. And the second part, of course, was very touching, very emotional. More power to you, man. I think those motivating stories sort of stimulate us and sort of we learn from each other, get inspired. So keep up the good work, Rahul, that you are doing. And Dr. Shah, I'll reach out to you for your closing remarks.
You asked me in the beginning that what motivates me. And born Indian, in Africa also several years, and now American. And yet I had to go to China that I have never visited and find the secret of my happiness. And I will preface by saying, if you believe in Dalai Lama, he said, I believe that the purpose in life is to seek happiness. And if you want to, here is the Chinese proverb. If you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go golfing. I don't golf. If you want to be happy for a month, get married. Sorry, all married guys. If you want to be happy for a year, inherit fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, money will keep you happy only for so long because you can neither eat, drink, or sleep with money. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, go help someone else. Go help someone else from whom you do not expect anything in return and you do not know the person. When I told this to my daughter-in-law in 2007, she says, Dad, you're right, it makes you feel good, but it doesn't last. And the answer was, yes, that's why you go and do this every single day.
Fantastic.
Secret of my secret of happiness is true happiness comes from serving an unknown person whom you don't know, from whom you don't expect anything back. And lastly, I was in Haiti after the earthquake in 2010, and we were fortunate that there was an Indian Army base. They invited us for dinner, and I saw a beautiful quote framed on the wall there. Action may not bring any happiness, and yet there is no happiness without an action.
Right.
And I continue to do that. 675 missions so far in past 32 years, and I have no intention to stop.
Okay.
Everybody is welcome. Anybody who wants to help anywhere, I'm always there and ready and always looking for new places, new country to go and touch someone's life.
Well,
Thank
keep
you.
it going, keep up the good work that you are doing. And Rahul, it was very, very happy moment for me to connect with you. I'm using the word happy more categorically over here because that's what you made us all happy over here during the conversation. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap up this conversation with those positive vibes, positive energy that you're leaving for our viewers. Thank you both for joining us on Focus Live Season 5.
Thank you, Jai Hind.